queen. Generally speaking, I've kind of laid out how I want to do some things, such as the preface. This is going to be the lore section. Effectively, the lore section is going to be, this is the nature of the land. What are elves like? What are humans like? What are goblins like? What are fucking puka like? What about the fucking logic of the situation, and then chakras and how magic works? Kind of the idea is we have I'm going to invoke a very specific idea here, which is going to be called an oath of service. Effectively, for lack of a better word, every retainer has sworn an oath. This could be out of fear, this could be out of wanting something. But, hey, it turns out signing an oath means that you're kind of bound to this person. That's kind of the carrot, that's both kind of the carrot and the stick in this exchange. It's, hey, you are a retainer because you have sworn this oath. Because you have sworn an oath, you'll put yourself in there. You're a sleepy boy. I'm always a sleepy boy. I would also like to thank Vevombat. Hello, Vevombat, for following. Thank you very much. Very cool. We are at 317 followers, which is very strange to say. Because I do obscure nothing burger content most of the time. It's great. So, but yes, generally speaking, today's going to be a little bit shorter than usual because I still have to record I need to record the script for tomorrow's video. That's also one of the reasons why I was, I'll have you know that in an effort to find that video, I typed in pain into my search bar. I was just like, ah, yes, pain. Generally speaking, I have the script ready, just to kind of give you the idea of, the actual script here. This is the script for tomorrow's video, and I need to do all of this tonight. Generally speaking, I think the video is going to be a little bit longer, but it's not going to be like, oh boy, time for super interesting stuff. I literally tell people about 95% of the game right here. Like, this is quite literally the entire game. These 2 paragraphs summarize the entirety of the game. Because Through the Breach is a very fascinating game. Pay notepad, that's what I like to see. Time to hit an ad. People keep hitting the pay notepad button and I keep running ads. Woohoo! Woohoo! This is what I live for. This is the song and dance I force all of you to endure. But yeah, so, generally speaking, we've kind of got the basic idea, kind of a clue like what's the ideas, what's going on. Generally speaking, I do say, hey, you should have a full set of dice, D4, D6, D8, D10, and D12. And multiple die will be needed, preferably 2 to 3 P per L. And though the Eichenmaiden and her court do encourage sharing among the lower classes. Yeah, just kind of that. It's like, haha, please share, like, because you're going to have multiple die. If you only have like 2 sets of die, then share. Not that difficult. So, kind of left this little area here. I don't know if I want to put an image here. Speaking about fonts and bullshit like that. So, header font is actually going to be Parata 1. As you kind of see here, this is actually an image. Looks a little low quality here, but if you zoom out, it looks fine. This is Black Castle, I believe that's what it's called. Pretty much anything that Scribble doesn't give me, I'm going to be using wood cutouts. I'm going to be using things like this. Kind of this more sketchy, kind of this way of doing things. If Scribble provides the art, I will put it in. If Scribble does not, I will improvise, because that's what I do best. Oh my god, hat. Yes, oh my god, hat. But good night. I'll create in images in kind. But yes, so generally speaking, kind of a highlight what needs to be done here. So let's get to the actual game. So this is where things start getting a little bit hectic. So, And I'm actually going to open up another game just to double check. Because I have a very specific format I like doing for this. And this very specific format is how I do things. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, alright. When a retainer... Let's see. When a retainer attempts an action with a chance of failure, or in opposition to another, they will make a test. When being tested, the retainer will take their base. Will take a. Let's see. When being tested, the retainer will take their dice acquired through their personal abilities, patron influence, and a host of other factors, and roll them. Rolling. I'm rolling. And roll them. So this we're only really going to need 3 of these, because generally speaking, I don't think people. Actually, no, complex. Because there's probably some very pretentious way I could word this. I'm still not 100% on the body font yet, so bear that in mind. If anything, I could probably do something like this for all the tables that will inevitably be in here. And trust me, this is going to be a table game. Let's see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, fairly simple stuff. Nothing complex there because we don't like complex. Complex makes things hard. So we're going to do that. Going to do that. Every die that rolls above a 5, rolls above a 5 will score 1 success. We'll score 1 success. If a die rolls above a 10, they score it scores 2 successes. Most tests will only require a single success to bypass it. Well, let's see. Most tests will only require a single success to bypass it. However, if the retainer is rolling multiple die, they may stack the die together. They may stack the die together to form a better result. However, they may stack the die to form a better result. 2 successes. Most tests will only require a single success to bypass it. However, roll multiple dice. They may stack the die together to form a better result. Stacking like this adds the results. Add the results of the die together. To form to score a success. At its absolute core, that is the entire system right there. This is all you really need to know. Hey, you make a check. All right, what test are we making? Roll this. If add everything together, and there we go. That's all we really need. Why was I advertise a cat zodiac cat food? It just works. Amazon's great. Coffee. So. For example, if our fair retainer makes a test, make a test with a D6, the D6 and a D8, but only rolls a 3 and a 2 and 2, and only rolls a 3 and 2, they have scored no successes. They have scored no successes. However, if they stack the 3 and 2 together, they have beat 5. If they have scored a single success. They have scored a single success. Oh yeah. A retainer. Let's see. A retainer cannot stack. Let's see. A retainer cannot stack die. They do not actually. Cannot stack die. Not stack die. They do not control. Let's see. They do not control. So if multiple retainers are rolling at once, our tests are making tests at once. Yeah, they're unable to combine the results together. Finally, only 5+ or 10+ generate bonus successes. Bonus successes. Dice up to 20 does not stacking dice up to 20 does not create 4 successes. 4 successes just creates it would still remain 2 successes. It would still remain 2 successes. Effectively, the thing that I'm trying to avoid there is like, hey, I rolled a 9 and I rolled a 2 and a 3. Oh, well, I'm going to now like power game it all the way up to like 15 or something. That's going to be different. Like, no, it's you put them together, and if you score above a 5, you've got a success. If you score above a 10, you got 2 successes. It's pretty much allowing you to take dice that fail and turn them into something that succeeds. That's all it is. However, if you say have 2 4s, that's an 8. It's like, it's not like you get a bonus out of that. It's still just 5 up and 1 success. But if you have a 2 in there somewhere, hey, you can get up to a 10. There's there's no limit to how many dice can be stacked at once. Believe that's the main That is the main gist. That is the main actual entirety of what we need to do. Happy affiliate birthday. Good job, me. What is an Elven Queen, TM? The Elven Queen, or technically, if I recall correctly, she is the Oak Maiden, so it would be Oak in German. The Eichenmaiden, is the actual literal queen of the forest elves. This is not her. This is an elf named Erica with a K, so you know she's German. The Eichenmaiden is the queen of Schwarzwald, who are a bunch of elves. Except these are scribble elves, and in turn, they can be very tall depending on what kind of tree they're born from, because they're effectively proto-dryads, and dryads make trees. Is that Fishman brand Monera coffee? It is not Monera coffee. Unfortunately, it's funny, because what happens is my mom buys a coffee. My mom loves drinking coffee. So she will absent-mindedly buy coffee, and then be like, I don't need this coffee, and then give it to me. I've got fucking, like, industrial amounts of coffee in my house. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to go through this one, and she's just like, oh, hey, Notepad. Here's my vanilla liqueur. Here's my king cake. Here's my other shit that I bought, and I just want to give to you because I don't want to drink it. It's like, fuck. But yes, the Elven Queens, effectively, queens, as they say. Let me see if I can bring up the races on the Mirazi, because we have a wiki, everyone. This is very important. Luckily, again, if we go to elves, hello elves. Technically, elves are a fairy race. Most things are fairies in this setting, which that's just something we gotta live with. These are elves, and this is a dryad. They literally at 1,000 years, and elves at 1,000 years turn into a fucking tree. However, to give you an idea, like, this is a real-sized human being. This is like a 6-foot person, like, over here. They can be very tall. Hence why, my 8'5" Dami Mommy Elfie boss will never oppress the lower classes. Yeah, so, these are our various, Henrietta, Edelheid, Erika, and Elk von Brickwold. It's a very, very in-depth lore, and you are not immune to tall women. I am not. The random coffee flavors is what I do best. And I'm gonna make it the exact same way. Let's see. Is there anything else really I'm missing here? No, because the basic concept is, you really want to know the most basic idea of how to make a roll, is you take a die. I rolled a 3, I would fail. I rolled a 6, I would have 1 success. Boom, there. That's it. That's all you need to know with the game. Now we start getting into some of the little bit more complicated bits. And I'm literally going to go down... I'm going to go down this list. So we don't need the base die, we just need the influence die. Okay, so we're going to worry about influence. So, influence. The patron, the retainer's patron. Patron as noble as, her nobility. Her excellence, her nobility, and the power, and let's see, her excellence, Her Excellence. Her Excellence has a number of influential contacts, contacts and resources she is able to leverage. She's able to leverage in the field. Leverage in the field for her most loyal retainers. While in the field, the retainers may use their patrons' influences to make tests to intimidate, bribe or any other overt uses of her highness's gravitas. Alternatively, they may take a die from her total. They may take a die from her to use it as an influence die themselves, adding one lowering she has immediately lessening the impact or influence she has immediately and replacing it. Let's see, lessening the impact and influence she has immediately and replacing it and didn't add it to any of the tests. So we're kind of I'm just going to explain each of the die kind of in order, just to be like, hey, this is what this actually works. Yeah, alternatively, they may use the die from her as influence die themselves. So it's a little bit funky, and it's gonna I just want to kind of introduce the concept early on so people know what the fuck is going on. They're like, okay, that makes sense. So teamwork, and we will do seriously, the ampersand in here. That is seriously this is the fucking ampersand. That's painful. So no ampersands this time, I guess. Now imagine having to say these names for several months. Be grateful you're not German. You have to say stuff like this unironically every day. We be having a serious problem. Yeah, German is a very fascinating language. The Brickwinwelt. I'm going to try to make sure that if there is some stranger German in there, I'm literally going to put a pronunciation at the end. Like, at the end of it, being like, this is how you fucking pronounce it. Die Geckwindel. Yeah, I can't even say that. Let's see. Retainers are a group. Are a group. While brought together by mutual oaths. By mutual oaths of service. I should say, capitalize oaths of service. to their patron. They complement and assist one another. Assist one another when needed, and assist one another when needed. During a test, another retainer may offer to assist with teamwork. They will add actually the lead retainer will add their die and influence together. Will add their die and influence, but the assistant will contribute only their base die. Will only contribute their base die to the test, but will be in the lead's control. However, relationships are mutual bonds. Mutual bonds of friendship, camaraderie, hatred, lust, or even or lust toward one another. Any beings be a relationship die always added to the role for good or ill, are always added to the role and are treated accordingly. Let's see. The assistant cannot attempt to help attempt the test they are helping with, as they are dedicated to helping the lead. Yeah, there we go. Are added to the roll. Well, they may be able to add two separate die to a single test. So that's kind of the difference between teamwork and relationships. Teamwork is we're in this together. Like you are pretty much saying I am not going to do anything, but we're going to get some. It's kind of like, hey, I am, kind of a teamwork is I am dedicating my time to help you. And it could be, hey, I've got a D10 in this, but you got a D12. Let's work together. Well, I am contributing to this. Well, let's do it like I'm assisting you on research. I cannot then make a research test. No, I'm helping you. That's the entire problem. If you have relationships, if you're just working together, and hey, yeah, fuck yeah, you've got a relationship with one another, and they can bring a come up quite different times. I'm going to add is, let's see, bonus die. Yeah. We want to do Bonus and hindrance. Bonuses, the retainer, during times of stress and let's see, during times of stress and hardship, the retainers will need to use every advantage they have. Will need to use every advantage they have and power through every hindrance. Power through every, and, now get around the problems placed before them. Bonus die are ranked from D4. To D12, massive boon. That are added to the test. These are treated as normal dice. And let's score successes and be stacked. Bonus die rank from D4, minor resistance to D12, a massive boon are added to the test. Having the proper equipment, a legendary sword. I'll contribute toward bonus die. All contribute toward bonus die. A maximum of 3 of these die. Maybe added. 3 of these die may be added to a roll, but under different circumstance, but under different facets of the test. Under different facets of the test. For example, if in a battle, having the high ground, D8, a powerful weapon, D10, and demoralized enemies, D4, are all different boons. Having all different boons. But if the enemy became more demoralized or terrified, that would not add a new die, but change the demoralized enemy, but change the demoralized enemies bonus. There we go. Effectively, the idea behind this is, hey, you can have multiple things, but if you just have like one facet to it that's just getting better, you're just increasing the die size of that one die. But having a D12 is really fucking good because you can score consistently. You have a chance of scoring 2 successes a lot easier. So that's kind of it's kind of like, this is kind of a way to prevent people from like just stacking little bonuses. German is a fake language made by fake fairy people who tried to rule the world and failed twice. Geschwind ich Kiezbergensun, otherwise known as the speed limit. The work week is almost over, and I'm dreaming of a nice, frothy, hard Dixon cider. Oh yeah. See, I drank my beer today. I was day drinking as one does. And I was like, Zam, I'm out of beer now. I'm gonna have coffee. Because I went to the store today, and I got, let me see if I can find it. It's a Slate. Drink? Is that what it's? Yeah, I got one of these. My mom saw it and be like, hey, you should get this. And I'm like, yeah, alright, I'll get it, because I don't know what it is. I don't quite know what it was. I think it was just milk. but it was in like the coffee section. Yeah, that was also one of the reasons that I one of the reasons I was also like, ooh, I think my stomach ain't doing too hot, because I drank it and it's like, this is weird because it's keto friendly and all the keto friendly and one of those high protein things. It wasn't bad, don't get me wrong, it wasn't bad, it was just very weird. I'm pretty sure it was just milk, but it was like, ooh. This is very strange. Slate milk. Ik ben klein en dat borgens doen hund. A borke borke borke. Hindrance die or hindrance die or hindrance die will have the same, let's see. Have the same influence and rules as bonus die. However, they should be noticeably different. Different die color, or rolled by the storyteller. Any hindrance die that comes up as a success, or is stacked as a success, So even if you have multiple hindrance die, you can actually stack them to legitimately fuck over another player if you really want to, which you should, because that's the entire idea, is having even 2 hindrance die pretty much makes your life a lot harder. Well, let's see. It comes up as or stacked as a success, reduces the total number of successes. The retainer has scored. Any hindrance that comes up as a success or stacked as a success, total number of successes the retainer has scored. This may give the retainer negative successes. They are unfortunate enough. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of that, like, hey, what are hindrance die? They are just things that make your life what we're going to do here, which is going to be you're going to be amazed when you learn what opposed tests are going to be. Let's see. Our tug of war between two parties is opposed tests are a contest of wills between two or more parties trying to score the most successes. Whichever side scores the highest number of successes during an opposed test will emerge victorious. If there is, let's see, if there is a tie, both sides will... Let's see, if there is a tie, whoever has the best base die, will succeed. If both base die are equal. Let's see, victories go to the retainers. Actually, if both base die are equal, victory is given in order by individual, given in order by goblin, human, elf, puka. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing something. No. Let's see. Goblin, human, elf. Actually, I should say patrons. Actually, I should say nobility. Nobility, goblins, human, elf, puka, fairy. Fairy, actually, fair, foul, there we go. There we go. Effectively, how this works is if you are a goblin, and you are in a contest with a human, and you both roll equal, and you both have the same base die, the goblin will win. They eke out a win. That's going to be one of their gimmicks. If you're a human going against an elf, you will win. If you're an elf going against a puka, you will win. If there is nobility going against a monster, the nobility will always win. If it is nobility against foul, they will always win. Fair will always beat foul. Monster will always beat peasant. But retainers always beat monsters, but never nobility. Kind of the idea, what I'm trying to go for here is a little bit like goblins have lower stats overall, so the likelihood of this happening isn't very common, but they're a little bit luckier. Why not? Fuck it. Und D6 Toten Ratten. See, you've said Ratten all of a sudden, and now I need to check something. Let's see. Did Rattenreich ever actually come out? No, it never came out. Anyone remember this game? Good old Rattenreich. With strangely with Booba Mouse on the cover. Yeah, remember this? Remember this game? I remember this game. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Is this game like, because I remember them talking about this game like forever ago. And I know also, the weird thing is, this is not a good sign, because I got a ding from my antivirus saying, you know, that this website's fucking sus. Yeah, so, to give you an idea, connection was reset. Yeah, because I remember there was the board game. Let's see here, the Rattenreich board game. Because the thing is that was a little weird, is because they did make the board game. Like, they were trying to push the board game before the game actually came out. Like, that's one of those weird things. They were like, yeah, this is going to be the new... We're going to make a board game all of a sudden. The game wasn't out yet. And they're like, board game time. And it was like a whole... It was a whole fucking thing. There was boats. There were, like, war cards. It was a fucking huge thing all of a sudden. And everyone's like, what the hell? What the hell? Is Rathenreich even... Literally not doing that, bozo. Then again, I am here. Not so much that the racial tier list exists, it's odd to me, more so that it'd be annoying to go through all the types. Generally speaking, it is... Generally speaking, the idea here is kind of... It's the second one. Being like, hey, have you succeeded? The answer is yes. Okay, but we've tied for right now. Okay, we're tied in our current state of affairs. Whoever has the highest base die succeeds. Most of the time, this is already going to be determined. This is going to be the determinant. However, if they both have, we have to now make a roll here. What I should actually put here is, there we go. I think this is this is kind of what I'm trying to get across here. Is, if you're a goblin retainer going against a human retainer, like you're in like a competition with one another, the goblin's going to win. However, goblins have dogshit stats. Counterpoint, goblin. Yeah, this is kind of the idea what I'm going for. Effectively, if you are a nobility, guess what? You're going to lose. You're going to lose to them because they're nobility. Hey, are you fair? Otherwise known as, are you a good fairy or are you a bad fairy? Most of the time, you're going to be a peasant. Peasants lose to everything. On a tie. This is the second level of a tie, so that's what I meant. This is a very like specific situation. And if you do end up with two goblin retainers getting at one another, it would be like, this is getting incredibly, this is a third layer of maybe if and or, then just reroll. I feel, yeah, if not, reroll. Like, that's it, just if not, reroll. Let's see, we need to add this a little bit here. Watching a man make niche autism games. Damn straight we make niche autism games here. What do you think I am? I am the niche autism game. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. Service, okay. Very basic premise, very basic idea, nothing too advanced here. So, what I'm going to do though, double check, make sure completed. What I'm going to do though is we are going to make just a to-do list. Because I want to get, this is going to be one of those things where I want to get a very specific idea here. So, basic idea, the story, Schwarzwald. Lore, well, I'm just going to call it lore autism. That's literally all it is. That's just something that needs to be done. We have the basic mechanics in place. That's Fine. We've got the most basic understanding of the mechanics, and that's all we really need to understand. What's a teamwork? This. What's bonuses and hindrances? What's this? What's an opposed test? What's this? If it comes down to it, I could probably add in things like extended tests and then like a couple other things. I'm kind of debating on if I kind of want to just, circumnavigate that a little bit and being like, this isn't really going to come up at all. Or just address it later on kind of thing. I could probably throw in a note for extended tests, but that's kind of a specific situation. So what do we need to do? We need to do, I think first thing we need to do is patron creation. Like, before we even learn how to make a retainer, we need to learn how to make our patron. And this is going to be pretty simple. We're going to explain the influences. First things first, we're going to explain the influences. They all have a handful of influences. If we go over here, these are their influences. Things that they have authority over that they can leverage against others. Hey, my boss is terrifying. My boss is is someone who you do not want to fuck with because they are going to kill people. Kind of like, how do we explain this? How do we explain terror, mystique, noblesse, and wealth? That's all we need to explain there. We need to explain the... And we're going to explain influence roles, and then we're going to explain influence die. So then we're going to go to retainer creation. So basic idea, retainer creation now. We're going to have to do, most likely, we are going to do, actually I should say influence role. We should do is quirks table. What I should put is table autism, because there's going to be a lot of tables to create your patrons. And why I want to do patron creation before we do retainer creation, because the patron is going to influence how your retainers might look. Because if they have a fanatic racism toward goblins, creating a goblin character is going to be a lot different than they have a weird obsession with goblin culture. We need a silliness bar. So this is kind of the, the basics here. This is going to be, of course, quirks, domain. What of all the things that there we go. Quirk, combat, magic, age, quirk, domain. So this is the basic idea. Retainer creation, we need to have our, actually explain. There's probably a better name I can come up with for attributes in this system. It seems a little bit simple, but it pretty much explain attributes, explain races. Explain races, probably put in a traits and probably put in like a trait system. It's either going to be a traits or histories system, which is effectively bonus die in certain circumstances. Say it's like, hey, I'm a mercenary. Because I am a mercenary, I'm going to get a bonus here. I'm going to get a bonus D8 anytime we're in a fight, pretty much. And hey, that changes the nature of people a little bit. Changes the nature of how we are approaching things, how we are dealing with others, and a lot of other little things. It's kind of like here's a little bit more for your character, a little bit more bang for your buck than what you might normally end up with. So that's the most basic ideas. Let's see, retainer creation. Then we would have to move on to probably the relationship section. Then we would do conflicts. Actually, no. We would want to do the round table. Pretty much the idea of taking the various die at that point, explaining what's going on in this session effectively. Then the relationship section, which is going to be a fairly large section about, hey, relationships. This is how they work. This is the weirdly dense system I'm going to have to make. I have a few ideas how I want to do it. It's going to take a little bit of time. And then a conflict resolution system. Now, conflict resolution is not combat. This is important. This is going to be used just as much for debates, just as much for trials of endurance, for friendly spars, or trying to get information from someone. The entire idea is this is what you need to do, and this is how you fail at doing something. Very simple. This is the best way to think about this. The conflict resolution system is the hijinks creation system. How do we create hijinks? We're going to be doing it via this way. We're going to be doing it this way. That's the idea. Barb, how silly things are getting. This is getting silly. Honest to God, what we could probably throw in a moment of table autism, which is of mood. We could I might even put in like this as being like, hey, this is important. Please choose what your actual patron is like, and this will influence the entirety of the campaign going forward. This is effect we can actually, we can even treat that as a Yeah, the mood is what we can probably use is the idea is that the mood is, hey, she's very lackadaisical. She's perfectly okay with things going wrong, and she's going to help people. She's generally there, and this is more of a hijinks kind of game. This is here's some wacky situations from a wacky noble who's doing wacky things, all the way to the far side, which would be, kind of the beautiful and the terrible, the beautiful and the terrible, which would be, hey, this is effectively a horror show. This is a horror game now, and your boss is a fucking terrifying, hundreds of years old elf maiden, elf maiden, who is partially on the verge of wanting to kill you and could probably kill you anytime she feels like, but she doesn't feel like it yet because she finds you entertaining. And it's kind of, again, it's kind of that we can kind of shift the mood around a little bit here, just kind of establish some basic. It's not necessarily just like, oh, it's seasonal mood archetypes or something. It's not necessarily like that. It's more of like the tone of the campaign, as well as the way that she is approaching things. And you can have some contrast with how different characters... Effectively, the way to think about it is, hey, yeah, don't try and do everything. Yeah, to a little bit, the Ryujin of Ryutama, to a degree. Kind of the idea would be, you could have a moment where like, hey, you're playing a very silly game. This is a goofy game. Your patron, or patrons, I should say, they're a little silly. They're a little goofy. The way they approach things are a bit lackadaisical, and I'm the fairy queen. I'm one of the fairy princesses, and I just want things to happen because I find it funny. And the best way to think of it is, how do we facilitate hijinks? This is that game. On the other hand, you could have another character, again, it's just like, oh, we want to have hijinks. And then you meet a character on the opposite end of the spectrum, of someone who is very much playing this political game, someone who is very dangerous, someone who is very uncomfortable to be around. And the tone of the game should shift in the presence of this other noble. It's like, haha, our patron's super funny and goofy. Hee hee hoo hoo, hijinks are fun. And then it's kind of like, oh hey, this is a person who is outright trying to manipulate people, or outright just treats people like dog shit. Because she is a 500-year-old elf who has killed countless people, who has cut deals with things beyond our understanding, and just has given up any premise of humanity. This is a fae creature. The best way to think about it is, here's a fairy, here's a nice little fairy, there is the fae. Oh fuck, there's the fae. And, you know, kind of those characters interacting with one another should feel a little weird, should feel, you know, there's a disconnect there. And it's, if you've ever heard of the trope of Cerberus, the Knight of Cerberus, that's kind of the idea there is, hey, you can introduce a thing that kind of amps the seriousness up of a campaign by just virtue of someone having a different mood. Like, anytime this noble is in the room, things are very different. And one, you know, it's like, who's kind of overpowering who? Will hijinks beat super serious? You don't know, and you shouldn't really. There's always this line of, is your patron someone that you can connect to emotionally, or are they an amoral fae who is kind of one step from hurting you and one step from, like, wanting to hug you? And most of the time it'll be both. Like, that's the like, oh no. That does remind me, I need to put in a tree type. Conflict resolution system, and then we could probably put in like a very basic, part of me wants to have an equipment, like an equipment section, another, actually, you know what we can do, rather than a strict, like, here is a sword, it does 1d8 plus 1 damage, it's, here's just stuff you have. Like, here are a bunch of things that are helpful for you that you should know about. Have fun. Oh, there we go. So that should be everything. And of course we're going to add things in that kind of come up. But if we want to do that, retainer creation, how do attributes work? What do the races do? What do traits and histories do? Most of the races, I have a good idea for each of them. And some are going to be pretty simple, just down to the fact of, like, what's the human advantage? You have better stats than everybody. You have better stats than everybody, and you are, you know, descendants of Orta. And by virtue of being the descendants of Orta, you get to have things that others don't. You are a human. You have that burning soul of, you know, rock and roll in your soul, you know, in your heart. It doesn't fucking matter. Puka are going to be a little bit weird, but I have kind of an idea of how I want to do that. Round table is going to be entirely, kind of the influence section. It is legitimately going to be a round table. You're going to go around the table, and the players are going to be taking a die from the patrons. And it's kind of like a first come, first serve kind of thing, where it's like, oh, hey, you are, beloved by the patron. You get first pick. Well, I want to take the D12 from her grace. And the other person be like, oh, all right, fine. I will take the D10. I'll take the D12 from her wealth. And others are like, oh, well, we're going to go fight some enemies here, so we don't want to take anything from fear factor, but I'll take the D6 from her grace, or I'll take this, I'm going to take die, we're going to take die away from the patron until we've expended all her influence, or we keep her at a good place. You can get more later, in case you need it, but you're burning a lot more resources to get so. Humans are just try harder than everyone else. Ew, auto emojis. We love auto emojis. Alright, let's, okay. So, influence betting section, relationship, autism, conflict resolution system, mostly opposed. The villains and knaves section, like, part of me might have that, part of me might not. It kind of depends on how the conflict resolution system kind of pans out. If the conflict resolution system is as simple as I think it is, you may not even need it. You may legitimately not need that, because all I would need to do is give you a dice setup for any character you want to, and you just have a dice setup for them. You want to make a human? Here is the human dice ladder. Create it as you want. Hey, you are going against an elf. This is their dice ladder setup. Do as you wish. You want to go against a monster? These are what their dice look like under like 4 circumstances. That kind of depends on the situation. Laughs in car friends. And that should be good enough. I know it's we're cutting it a little bit short today, but admittedly it is also almost midnight, and I have to record a very long video. So here's what I'm going to do. This is what needs to be done. Generally speaking, there's a lot to be done, but not a terrible amount. If we hammer out things on Friday, if we sit down on Friday, we just work on it, we should be okay. And that's what we're going to do. We're just going to sit down, we're just going to work on it. A lot of patron stuff. My goal is to get the patron stuff done on, not even done, but just start working on it. Because the thing is, like, we're going to work on D66 tables most of the time, or at least D6 tables. So hey, get ready for Notepad comes up with 36 different options for things as we just kind of sit here and hem and haw for like 4 hours. It's gonna be great. If you want an accurate see, this is if you want an accurate description of the moods, this is a fairly accurate representation. Like, haha, hee hee, hoo hoo, and then you're like, oh god, oh fuck, oh god. I am going to die. I don't want to die. Yeah, that's the, yeah, you're getting it, Scribble. You're getting it. You understand. But yeah, I feel pretty good about things. It's going to be a little bit, I feel this one isn't going to be difficult to write. This is just going to be a lot of writing. It's just going to be sitting down and having to power through writing down every single kind of fucking tree in Schwarzwald. It's going to be writing down like 36 different types of ways to kill people in combat. And it's going to be writing down 36 descriptions of ages and things like that. Or just finding a way to calculate the number of ages, which rolling a D1000 is entirely viable for age, because they can be up to 1,000 years old. And I would probably do, it'll be 0 to 999. And the idea is like, hey, you are rank, it's age 0 is you're serving a literal actual child and their whims. Yeah, but you want to babysit the baby elf? Yeah, but here's the thing there, what I would literally say is, like, if you roll within this margin here, you must now roll for a secondary, this isn't your primary patron. Your secondary patron is mom. That would be the big thing there, and it would be like, hey, you're automatically getting a second patron, whether you like it or not. Probably how I'm going to do multiple patrons is that each patron is going to have access to one of these. So let's say, for example, you have mom and mom and a kid. Mom might have terror, wealth, and mystique. However, the kid has grace and noblesse. Does the kid like you? Then yeah, mama likes you. If, mama likes you, she's gonna be like, I have infinite money. I have infinite money. You're going to do this, or I'm going to kill you and, rip your limbs off. And it's like, haha. Again, that is like, it's a 1 in 1,000%. It's less than a 1% chance of rolling for that. So a max of 5 nobles. Pretty much. That's kind of the idea. Like, it's kind of a max of, not necessarily a max of 5 nobles, but it's kind of like, if you're working with like 20 different nobles, you are splitting up. You're factionalizing them a little bit. They're pooling their grace together. They're pooling their mystique together. These five elf nobles are incredibly mystique. They have this incredibly mystique to it. See, if I wanted to be really, that's why I was thinking about adding crown to the patrons, or adding a 6th stat to the patrons, where the idea would be like, this is like your raw influence over, the Eichenmaiden, or it's one of those things, like, there should be something else, and that might pop up, that might not. If you have any ideas, feel free to tell me. But we might find something when we're writing it out. So it's happened more than once, so I'm perfectly fine with that. If we really want to be autistic, we could literally put in, like, a military thing, being like, hey, do you have other retainers, effectively? Like, do you have, like, part of your court? Not necessarily courtly influence, but are there people that you just have in your circle? Being like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of fucking dudes I employ. Being like, what do the dudes do? Anything you want them to do. I might have an answer. A patron wanted us to do someone, what would they use? The thing there, the idea for, like, the patron doing things, this is going to be something I'm going to need to explain. The patron doesn't really need to roll for many things. That's kind of the idea. The patron just does things. They show up, they kind of put down, being like, hey, hey, what's up? And you as a player be like, hey, you're like, yes, this is a good idea. But you always have to put that little thought in the back of your head of, is she fucking with me? I think she's fucking with me. Oh god, she's testing me. Oh no, she's testing me. What's the right answer? Do I say no and possibly offend her, but maybe that's what she wants me to say? Gaslight. Become a gaslight gatekeep girl boss as playing the patron. And that should be something that is innately uncomfortable. And you can kind of tie that to her quirks, to her, combat, her magic ability, even down to her tree type is kind of that thing. It's just like, hey, these are things that factor into how she acts. And how she doesn't need to roll. That should be the big thing. She doesn't really need to roll. She just is. But if she doesn't have any money, and she's surrounded, and if she's surrounded, injured, and bleeding to death, it doesn't really matter what's going on. What do you do in this situation? Your contract will be void if she dies. On the other hand, not really sure about you getting out of the woods if she dies. But yes, that is kind of the idea there. But yeah, we will work on this continued on Friday. I should also say, because I have people here, do people like the notepad? Welcome to the magic of the magic internet machine, making something genuinely scrungly. As was said by as said by Scribble, that looks scrungly, and I'm like, yeah, that I get that. That does look very scrungly. And it was like, yes, scrungles. All right, I am as they say away. I agree with that description. I am as they say away. Godspeed, good luck, love you all. Kissu kissu, you know the rest. I am going to finally click squibbly. All right.